On February 7, 2011, the Leon County Sheriff's Office announced that they were charging my 17-year-old son, Deshaun Thomas, with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Deshaun was already being represented by the Public Defender's Office after the January 29, 2011 charges of cultivation of marijuana and possession of drug paraphernalia. This page from Deshaun's docket report on case process shows where on February 10, 2011, Public Defender added is Ward Justin. On February 14, 2011, I received a phone call on my cell phone from someone with the Public Defender's Office informing me that the Public Defender's Office, was no longer going to represent Deshaun due to a conflict of interest involving the murder charges. The person with the Public Defender's Office told me that Deshaun was going to be represented by an attorney with the Office of Criminal Conflict and Civil Regional Counsel's Office, and that someone from their office, the Regional Counsel's Office, will contact me. I had never heard of the Office of Criminal Conflict and Civil Regional Counsel's Office, so I asked for the name of the attorney that would be representing Deshaun. The person with the Public Defender's Office did not know the name of the attorney. However, the person with the Public Defender's Office did provide me with the phone number to the Regional Counsel's Office. Here on Deshaun's docket report on case process, the Public Defender's Office never filed a motion to withdraw from Deshaun's case. Neither did Judge James C. Hankinson sign an order granting the Public Defender's Office to withdraw from Deshaun's case. And lastly, there is no notice of first appearance by the attorney with the Regional Counsel's Office. Shown here are 3 entries in regards to the Conflict Civil Regional Counsel's Office. The first entry is a motion for appointment dated February 15, 2011. The second entry is an order for an appointment, Conflict Counsel Civil Regional Office, dated February 17, 2011. And a third entry is Conflict Attorney Assigned, dated February 17, 2011. Although there are 3 entries for the Office of Conflict Criminal and Civil Regional Counsel's Office, there is no attorney specifically named. This was one of many problems to come. For over a month, neither the Leon County Clerk of Courts or the Office of Criminal Conflict and Civil Regional Counsel's Office could provide Deshaun and me with the name of his attorney, the name of his court-appointed attorney. In the meantime, Gregory Cummings, a local defense attorney whom I'd met in mid-February 2011, was aggressively soliciting me to hire him to represent Deshaun. I had told Gregory Cummings that I was not going to hire a private attorney until I spoke with Deshaun's court-appointed attorney first. I was not anxious to hire an attorney. I'd read the probable cause affidavit charging Deshaun with the murders. I knew that 21-year-old Trenton Ross, Deshaun's co-worker and temporary roommate, was the only witness that had given incriminating statements against Deshaun. As far as I was concerned, the witness statements were really hearsay, especially about Deshaun murdering Lakeisha Herring because Deshaun got mad and not going through with the abortion. Prior to Deshaun being charged with the murders, I'd witnessed firsthand how aggressively detectives with the Leon County Sheriff's Office were pressuring Trenton Ross to give just a tad bit of incriminating statements against Deshaun. Deshaun and I were not concerned about an attorney's ability to discredit any incriminating statements made by Trenton Ross or any other witness. Deshaun did not murder anyone. Deshaun is innocent. There was no need for me, a single mother of 4, to quickly empty out my bank account on a private attorney based on what Trenton Ross said. Trenton Ross had been struggling financially. Trenton Ross lived in a 1-bedroom apartment within a quarter of a mile of the Taco Bell where he, Ross, and Deshaun worked. Neither Trenton Ross or Deshaun had a car. They both either walked to and from work or caught a ride with one of their friends or co-workers. At the time of Trenton Ross allowing Deshaun to sleep on Ross's couch in the living room, Trenton Ross's electricity had been disconnected. After Deshaun paid Trenton Ross's electric bill, Trenton Ross began watering and caring for a small marijuana grow in his bedroom closet. To which, after the murders, during the execution of a search warrant by Leon County Sheriff's detectives for firearms, that's when they located the marijuana grow. There were no firearms located. Trent and Ross lived in the jurisdiction of the Tallahassee Police Department. According to the discovery report, no one with the Tallahassee Police Department was present during the execution of the search warrant. There was no search warrant for the marijuana or anything in relation to drug use or sale. Trent and Ross and Deshaun were charged with cultivation of marijuana and possession of drug paraphernalia. Deshaun had to appear in juvenile court before the judge 3 times before the judge finally found probable cause sufficient to charge Deshaun with cultivation of marijuana and possession of drug paraphernalia. The Leon County Sheriff's Office added to the probable cause that charged Deshaun with cultivation of marijuana and possession of drug paraphernalia. On March 9, 2011, Deshaun was indicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder and possession of a firearm by a juvenile delinquent. On the afternoon of March 9, 2011, I received another one of many phone calls from Gregory Cummings, again asking me to hire him, Gregory Cummings, who is a sole proprietor. This time during the phone call, Gregory Cummings told me that he believes Deshaun is innocent, and Gregory Cummings told me that the judge in Deshaun's case, Judge James C. Hankerson, did not have Deshaun's best interest at hand. Cummings also told me that he, Greg Cummings, could file papers with the state to reduce costs, saving me money with legal fees, etc. I had already been under the stress of Deshaun and me not knowing who Deshaun's court-appointed attorney's name, so I verbally hired Greg Cummings. I still contacted the Leon County Clerk of Courts and Office of the Criminal Conflict and Civil Regional Counsel's Office to see if there was a name of a court-appointed attorney assigned to Deshaun's case. To no avail. On this page of Deshaun's docket report on case process, there were case events occurring on Deshaun's case by an unknown attorney with the Office of Criminal Conflict and Civil Regional Counsel's Office. Not only was Deshaun not present during the case events, Deshaun was completely unaware of the case events and unaware of the name of the attorney representing him in said matter. Deshaun's docket report on case process shows that on March 8, 2011, motion for appointment of conflict counsel and motion to withdraw filed by regional counsel. In parentheses, the date is March 7, 2011. The next entry, dated March 8, 2011, shows case comments from court event conflict counsel to be appointed. The next entry, dated March 8, 2011, shows case management set for March 22, 2011. The next entry, dated March 9, 2011, shows indictment filed. And then the next entry, dated March 9, 2011, shows first appearance set for March 10, 2011. Gregory Cummings and I signed a contract for service dated March 12, 2011. After Gregory Cummings' name appears on Deshaun's docket for case process on March 14, 2011, noted entry is a notice of first appearance. Now we begin to see at least one name of the 2 court-appointed attorneys that were previously assigned to Deshaun's case. Specifically, on March 21, 2011, order appointing conflict attorney Bea Harrison. In parentheses, it states, change due to Gregory Cummings retained in this case. Then there's, in the second set of parentheses, there's the date, March 9, 2011. Also on March 21, 2011, conflict attorney added Harrison Bea. And in parentheses, it states, change due to Greg Cummings being retained in this case. And then the second set of parentheses, it states the date, March 9, 2011. It is not until March 22, 2011, as to when the entry appears as private attorney assigned, private attorney added Gregory Cummings. Gregory Cummings was doing work on Deshaun's case while there was another court-appointed attorney assigned to Deshaun's case. This is a direct violation of the Florida Bar's Rules of Professional Conduct. Gregory Cummings knew that had Deshaun and I had access to the name of Deshaun's court-appointed attorney, we would have never hired Gregory Cummings. It is the belief of Deshaun and me that prior to me hiring Gregory Cummings may have informed Circuit Judge James C. Hankerson and State Prosecutor Jack Campbell of Deshaun and I desperately wanting to speak with Deshaun's court-appointed attorney, as well as my reservations for not hiring a private attorney, is why Circuit Judge James C. Hankerson withheld the names of Deshaun's court-appointed attorney while withholding motions and orders that Circuit Judge James C. Hankerson was signing from the Leon County Clerk of Courts, who are the maintainers of Deshaun's court records. In June 2012, it became obvious to me that Gregory Cummings was withholding information that was favorable in Deshaun's defense. Over a 16-month span, I paid Gregory Cummings nearly $30,000, which was over 50% of Gregory Cummings' fee. In late July 2012, I filed a complaint against Gregory Cummings with the Florida Bar. Early in the case, on February 17, 2011, Second Judicial Circuit State Attorney Willie Meggs assigned Assistant State Attorney Jack Campbell to prosecute Deshaun's case. All of the charges against Deshaun were under the jurisdiction of Leon County Sheriff Larry Campbell. Sheriff Larry Campbell was the overseer of the Leon County Jail, where Deshaun was being held until trial. Sheriff Campbell is the father of Assistant State Attorney Jack Campbell. At first, I believed the Campbell family working in such close capacity on a criminal case had to be unethical and biased. But I quickly learned that the citizens of Tallahassee who had been arrested by the Leon County Sheriff's Office had challenged the Campbell family judicial madness process before and had lost their challenges. I was told that the Campbell family working together was acceptable by legislative statutes. I also learned that most locals could easily voice their frustrations about wrongful arrests and convictions and corruptions and conspiracies that spew out of Leon County and surrounding counties under State Attorney Willie Meggs' jurisdiction in private and behind closed doors, but mastered containing their frustrations publicly. They were living in fear of retaliation in one form or another from government officials or those working for government officials, or even just those looking for favors from government officials, possibly a favor like a government job for themselves or a family member or a friend. In my opinion, those who really run Tallahassee leaders rule the same as a dictatorship, which is far beyond the inner workings of Tallahassee's good old boy network. As if it's not bad enough that most folks don't trust public defenders due to the fact that public defenders are state-paid employees like prosecutors, but now with my family from Orlando and not knowing who to trust in Tallahassee's good old boy network, things were bound to be crazy. I never fully trusted Gregory Cummings, but my son needed an attorney, and for the first time in over 15 years, I was living on a fixed income. My kids and I lost a lot of weight in order to pay Gregory Cummings. I decided early on that if Gregory Cummings showed any sign of being unethical, then Deshaun and I would fire him, and the Florida Bar would support us, and we'd move on. After all, the Florida Bar sets the standards for practice for all lawyers in the state of Florida. Plus, we are taught to believe that the judicial system is a system of respect and order, right? Why would the Florida Bar not support Deshaun and I for bringing the Florida Bar's attention to a bad apple? Besides, unethical conduct from Gregory Cummings, a criminal defense attorney with 32 years experience, does not just hurt Deshaun, but other attorneys who Deshaun and I could have hired that would have represented Deshaun ethically. Bea Harrison may have represented Deshaun ethically had Bea Harrison been given the opportunity. Had Gregory Cummings not stepped on Bea Harrison's back, conspiring with Judge James C. Hankerson to steal Bea Harrison's client, Gregory Cummings knew that Deshaun did not know about Bea Harrison being assigned to his case, and Gregory Cummings knew that Bea Harrison did not know about Circuit Judge James C. Hankerson having assigned him, Harrison, to Deshaun's case. In response to Deshaun's Florida Bar complaint against Gregory Cummings, Deshaun, in his opinion, states many unethical acts by Gregory Cummings, particularly how Gregory Cummings swindled his way into representing Deshaun by specifically downplaying the effectiveness of Bea Harrison, whom Deshaun never met. In Gregory Cummings' rebuttal to Deshaun's Florida Bar complaint dated April 8, 2013, Gregory Cummings states, "I contacted Mr. Harrison before Mr. Harrison, knew Mr. Harrison, was appointed and informed him, Mr. Harrison, that I was to be retained. I doubt I ever mentioned Mr. Harrison to Mr. Thomas." Gregory Cummings' response to Deshaun's complaint begs the question as to how did Gregory Cummings know that Bea Harrison was appointed to Deshaun's case before Bea Harrison himself knew. As I pointed out earlier, Mr. Harrison's name did not appear on Deshaun's court docket for case process until March 21, 2011. The parentheses here around the date March 9, 2011 indicate the actual date of occurrence as when Mr. Harrison was appointed to Deshaun's case, but as I pointed out, there is no entry of Mr. Harrison's name on March 9, 2011. This is a copy of the motion appointing Bea Harrison as Deshaun's court-appointed attorney. On Deshaun's docket for case process, there is an entry dated on March 23, 2011 for motion to withdraw as court-appointed counsel by Bea Harrison. Another entry dated March 25, 2011, order granting withdrawal, Bea Harrison withdrawn, in parentheses the date March 24, 2011. Here is a copy of Bea Harrison's motion to withdraw as counsel from Deshaun's case dated March 24, 2011. Florida Bar Rules of Professional Conduct are posted online for consumers to access. During the time of Gregory Cummings representing Deshaun, who was at that time a minor child in an adult court system, Gregory Cummings violated several Florida Bar Rules of Professional Conduct. I will name just a few of the Florida Bar Rules of Professional Conduct Gregory Cummings violated. Florida Bar Rule 4-1.1 Competence. Florida Bar Rule 4-7.13 Deceptive and inherently misleading statements. A lawyer cannot make deceptive or inherently misleading communications about the lawyer or services offered. Florida Bar Rule 4-7.18a. Number 1. Direct contact with prospective clients. A lawyer may not contact a prospective client by telephone, by telegraph, by facsimile, or by other means or direct contact, or by other means of direct contact. Florida Bar Rule 4-7.182b. Written communication. A lawyer may not send or knowingly permit to be sent on the lawyer's behalf or on behalf of the lawyer's law firm or partner or associate or any other lawyer affiliated with the lawyer or lawyer's firm a written communication directly or indirectly to a prospective client for the purpose of obtaining professional employment if the written communication concerns a specific matter and the lawyer knows or reasonably should know that the person to whom the communication is directed is represented by a lawyer in the matter. Criminal defense attorney Gregory Cummings' violations of the Florida Bar Rules of Professional Conduct should have been enough to make the signed contract for service null and void, thus fully reimbursing all monies that I paid directly to Gregory Cummings. After firing Gregory Cummings, I learned that Deshaun had not been arrested. Deshaun was kidnapped. Don Odom put handcuffs on Deshaun and took Deshaun away. Don Odom signed the complaint and filed in the Leon County Clerk of Court the probable cause affidavit with the approval of Leon County Sheriff Larry Campbell and his son, State Prosecutor Jack Campbell's approval. The information from the complaint and the probable cause affidavit was presented to a grand jury. The grand jury returned an indictment against Deshaun for 2 counts of first-degree murder and possession of a firearm by a juvenile delinquent. The complaint and the probable cause affidavit that were signed, Detective Don Odom indicated that Don Odom was a Leon County Sheriff's detective. It was not until nearly 3 years later during Deshaun's trial as to when Deshaun, myself, and my family learned that Don Odom was never an employee with the Leon County Sheriff's Office. Don Odom was never legally bound to taxpayers in Florida. Rumor has it that Don Odom is a wealthy friend of Sheriff Larry Campbell and the rest of the Campbell family. Apparently, Don Odom was a fake cop impersonating a law enforcement officer under the permission of Sheriff Larry Campbell.
State, call your next witness.
Say we call Don Odom.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
When you get to the top here, if you'd stop and raise your right hand so you can be sworn in.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you, sir. If you make sure you answer into the microphone so we can all hear your
All
responses.
right, thank you.
Now you're ready to proceed, Mr. Campbell.
Good morning. Could you introduce yourself to the jury, please, sir?
Good morning. My name is Don Odom.
Okay. And what do you do for a living now?
I'm a business consultant and a church ministry consultant and also a private investigator.
Okay. What was earlier in life have you gone, or through your life, have you gone through several forms of business?
Oh, certainly.
Okay. Did you also become a reserve deputy?
I was associated with Leon County Sheriff's Office for a little over 12 years. In the last 2 years of it, I was a homicide detective for them.
As a reserve deputy, did you have to go through the same training as the full-time deputies?
Yes.
Did you go to, before becoming a detective, did they send you to several schools specific for that assignment?
Correct. I went to homicide investigative schools, interrogation schools, and numerous other schools before I was allowed to be a homicide detective.
in your time, are there lots of deputies who work as reserve officers doing various capacities, not being on the full-time payroll?
That's correct.
Full-time, did you get yourself to a position with your day job where you were able to dedicate a lot more hours during the recession to cop work, police work?
Yes, I had sold my business and became I was always volunteering there, had thousands of hours, had a car assigned to me, so I've always worked there for many years. And the last 2 years, after I sold my business, and they'd asked me if I wanted to come and be one of their homicide detectives because I was quite involved with investigative work with them.
And were you working as part of the team working on the investigation of the Wolf Creek murder?
Yes, sir.
While I do not know how many other criminal cases Don Odom may have botched, I do know that in Gregory Cummings' rebuttal to Deshaun's Florida bar complaint, Gregory Cummings admitted to not informing Deshaun about Mr. Harrison. I also know that the Florida bar dismissed my Florida bar's complaint against Gregory Cummings, and the Florida bar never finalized Deshaun's Florida bar complaint against Gregory Cummings. Why is the Florida bar protecting Gregory Cummings? If the Florida bar are selective about certain attorneys not being held accountable for their violations of rules of professional conduct, then who is protecting their consumers? Who is making sure that the ground is level for other attorneys to solicit and represent their clients ethically? More importantly, there is a cold-blooded murderer or murderers out in the community, and those in authority, including the Florida bar, have chosen to look the other way. This awful experience with Gregory Cummings and the Florida bar has left many members of my family and others in the community, including myself, with the inability to trust criminal defense attorneys in Florida. I thank God I used my own money to pay Gregory Cummings. Had I known ahead of time that the Florida bar was going to run away from my son and me and not uphold their own rules of professional conduct, then I would have never hired Gregory Cummings. Nobody benefits from unethical representation of our judicial system, and nobody benefits from wrongful convictions. May God help us all.